Hello, welcome to a commentary game between myself and some other Diamond Terran player, which I'm Diamond as well. And for some reason, this game was like the hardest game of my life, even though we're all both in Diamond League. But I don't know, I didn't think I played bad at all, being at least a Masters player, reaching GM once, but apparently life is hard, game is hard. So it's going to be an Altazim Stronghold, and in this game I go for a quick 2-base mutalisk strat. Just because I feel that a lot of people like to open with fast expansion build, maybe possibly even quick 3cc. And with the quick mutalisk build, when they invest all these minerals into these buildings, they don't have enough necessarily for turrets. Well, they do, but they won't have it as economically as they wanted to have it. And also, because it's hard to scout on this map, and you can really just like poop creep anywhere on this map, proxy a tech building, and there you go. But we're not going to see that. I think we're going to see a CC first from this person. I think they went CC first. I just played this game, but as you can see, I'm not drone scouting. I'm not a fan of drone scouting in ZvT, and especially in Altazim Stronghold, I don't think you should drone scout either, because by the time you get there, it's like 4 minutes or something weird like that. So I'm going to go for a standard 15 hatch opening, because I don't feel that that it might be like a 3 hatch to 4 pool build. There's obviously an off chance that they might just keep making Reapers and then I'm pretty much dead, even though this rush distance is so long. It's just that Reapers are really good for jumping up these hills and the natural and such. But that's not going to happen here, and we're actually going to have a pretty standard opening from both players. A bit more on the greedy side from the Terran player, but it's completely common to see this because it is a huge map, and they went CC first and then racks into gas. And so I like to send my Overlord counterclockwise on this map, or I just send it to wherever their main base is, just because if you go to their natural base and like say you do see an expansion, that's great for you, but you can't see the main, you can't see the gas timings. And if you reach the natural and it's not there, which sometimes happens, I would say, like to say half the time, then you think it's safe, you fly over here, and all of a sudden there's a Marine killing your Overlord. So I always like to send it against Protoss and Terran. I like to send it towards their main base first, just because you can check out their gas timing. Well, maybe this one, not this one. And you can see if they spawn there as well. Anyways, pretty standard openings for now, and I did skip ling speed, and the resources that normally put into ling speed, 100 minerals, 100 gas, with the addition of 50 minerals, I just used that to make a quick layer, and I started droning pretty heavily this time. And another reason why I wanted to go for the strategy is because usually you just die to Hellions, but since this is only a small ramp, I can actually wall this off with 2 queens. And if they go YOLO, well then I can't stop it, but against Hellions YOLO, then it should be fine. Or even if they go full YOLO, I think I have enough slow lings if I see it in time. And so I should start ling speed pretty soon, even though the layer is almost finished. Do I even start ling speed? No, I get my Spire first, right? I'm so strapped on resources, as you can see. I am just starting my 4th gas. I'm not going heavy on the gas just because this is so... It's not even a greedy mutalisk build. It's just so rushed all-in mutalisk build that it's not even about getting as much gas as you can. It's about getting the mutas as quickly as you can and trying to salvage your economy as quickly as you can. And there's a time where I just stop making drones. I think it's after these 6. And so we do see a quick 3cc build. But as you can see in the game timer, actually, this game goes on a lot longer, so it's pretty safe to say this person did not die to the will die immediately to the mutalisk rush. So it looks like they're just doing stuff. They're getting a marauder for some reason, getting another marauder. I'm not sure about this. Maybe they're just scared of roaches, although roaches will take like a million light years to get to another base. Or maybe they just want to do a marauder Hellion push, in which case marauders take a million years to get to the other person's base, as they're both the same movement speed. So it looks like the spire is finally complete, and I have enough resources to make 7 mutalisks, which I do. And as you can see, I can also spread creep here, which is pretty good. This is pretty risky to inject, but if I position this queen perfectly in the middle, I can also block Hellions, assuming it's perfect, which is pretty hard to do. And I'm not saying that I can do it, I'm just saying that if I fuck up, well then GG, well played, see you in the next life. So it looks like they're going double engineering bay, and they scanned me, right? I think they scanned me at this point. Yep, they scanned me, but they don't see the spire. They saw this natural base with the initial SCV scout, and now they see it in Mutalisk, and they're just plopping down turrets every which way. And that's like 2 turrets right here, and 1 turret right here, or 2 turrets right here. That's 4 turrets. And this is full panic mode, and we're going to see how much damage I can do. Generally speaking, the most amount of damage I would like to do is to have them GG immediately, because if I can prevent their turrets going up, and I can see that they're actually really high on the turrets, and I lose like a mutalisk and such, so it's not that good. So their marine count is only 2 because they've been making marauders thus far, but I still don't think they can contest my mutalisks, as instead of 2 marauders, say they had 4 marines. I don't think that they could contest it. Now they have stim, and I can just run away when they stim, just because they don't have their medivac production up yet. I can see it, so I can still fight this, and I cancel an upgrade, which is pretty big for me. And in the meantime, I am just getting my own upgrades, because I do want to catch back in the game. I can't end the game right now with these mutalisks, so I think I should try to play it for the long run, which is what I'm doing. And as you see, I got a really early flyer attacks, and this is going to play out into the rest of the game. Altiston is a huge map, and it kind of reminds me of Tal'Darim Altar, just because of the positional play that you see here. It's really it's like Tal'Darim's pretty wide open. This is pretty wide open. The bases are like a million miles away, relatively speaking, for Wings of Liberty, anyways. So I can't really do damage to the mineral line, I think, but I can just keep doing damage to the buildings on the outsides, like the bunker. Maybe if I even hit the buildings, the glaives will splash onto the marines, and they can't really catch up to my mutalisks unless they stim, which they're not going to do that. And that's just getting little bits of resources. So obviously resources lost tab is going to show in my favor. And here I do have a couple of speedlings, just because I knew that Hellions were out on the map, and since I was harassing with the mutalisk, the Hellions were, they probably might want to do some counter economic damage, and I have 2 extra queens. I actually flowed a lot of minerals just because the 2 initial queens were blocking the ramp the entire time, so I didn't actually get to inject a lot. And so that is my mistake, but I am making 46 lings now, as I feel that I need to defend against their onslaught. I'm getting a macro hatch as well, but really they're on 2 base contained, and I'm pretty sure they're going to want to push out soon. So maybe I should have made those lings later. I definitely think I should, in hindsight. Looking back at it, I want to have made maybe full 16 drones, maybe full saturation, and maybe a couple of lings to morph into banelings, and then flood the lings afterwards, because as you can see, their attack isn't coming for a long time, and I can see this due to my mutalisk harass. So as the game goes on, my 1-1 is almost finished, and their 1-1 is almost finished, but their +2 is much quicker than mine. My +2 flyer attack is actually really quick, and I've been trying to emphasize on the spire upgrades this game. I think I was quite on top of it, I'm not sure, but I end up getting really upgraded mutalisk, just because on this map on Altazim, I don't think I'm gonna get like. I think mobility gives you the more advantage in this game. So, getting mutalisk to fight, have the ability to fight and trade more cost efficiently than before is definitely a good thing, I think. And they're putting down 4 bunkers, just because they know that I've been on 3 base a lot more than them. However, they didn't know that I made my drones so late, as I still haven't saturated yet, because I was just waiting for their attack. I thought they were just gonna all-in me with their army. Not all-in, but like attack me with their entire army and I have to defend it, and whoever gets ahead of that engagement pretty much wins the game. But that's not the case here, and had I known this, had I done more scouting, I would have just, earlier, I should say, with the bunkers. As you can see, the mutals haven't been doing jack shit, so I haven't been getting any information ever. So, had I known that, I would have macroed better. Would have macroed better regardless, because I should have understood the situation I was in. Getting shot by a widowmine here, I can see that they're very terribly right now. The creep spread is... honestly, it's okay. It doesn't look like it's covering like any part of the map, except like a little bit, but if you translate the creep spread from this onto another map like Belshire Vestige, it would probably go to at least the first watchtower, maybe a bit past, just because that's how big this map is. But yeah. So these mutals have been doing jack shit, and I definitely think that I can harass turrets, but there's 5 turrets, 6 turrets here. Wait, am I blind? 7 turrets here, yep. Oh, that's painful. That is painful. That's 4 mutalisks, and that's one of those things where you have to watch. There's a drop coming here. I actually have no vision of it. It's a pretty big mistake. I should definitely have it. I just thought that I took for granted for my mutalisks that they won't do drops, and or that drops were unlikely and that I'd probably see it. Well, then that's a mistake. So I do see a drop here, and they do move out on creep, and this person doesn't split the best, which is one of their fatal mistakes. And I engage a little bit. I try to proc the widowmines, and the reason I can take this fight so easily, even though you can see that the supplies are relatively even, but I do have a huge bank compared to them, is just because... oh, Jesus. No, Overseer is a pretty big mistake. Just because I had so much more than them, just because I delayed their economy so much. And I'd say the game is a little bit in my favor, I think. Had I killed these widowmines, and maybe some more medivacs, or maybe just these widowmines, that'd be a lot better, but I think this person wants to save their widowmines, and so I, oops, that got a lot of baneling kills there. And they had a really small infantry force, which is why I engaged here. There's a Thor here, and I really wanted to get a medivac, but wasn't able to. And these widowmines are definitely not good. Maybe even a spore crawler if I don't even want to use the money for an overseer, just because the spore crawler can, oh shit, not only detect widowmines, but it's good for static defense. I can always move it to another base. And if worse comes to worse, I just put it out in the open, and it might shoot like a medivac twice before it dies. These baneling landmines haven't done shit this entire game, and I can say that because I know that it hasn't done shit. So I should have set up more, but it's pretty hard to predict where the hell they're going on such a huge open space map, as I've said like 20 times. Anyways, my 3-3 is about to start. I'm actually pretty strapped for money. That's just because I've been trying to remax out and make shit. Their army is actually pretty weak. It's mostly Marines and 1 Thor, which is actually really bad for them. I think they should have just turtled on a 4th base and maxed out with a better composition. Like maybe more mines and more Marines. Or maybe just more something, because it's literally just like all Marines here. A couple Marauders would be good to soak up the banelings. But Thor doesn't really do much. As you can see, it's just derping around. And again, the sheer numbers just overwhelm my opponent. But you can see that the unit's resources lost tab is actually in their favor now. And that's just because banelings, the nature of mutilating bane, just costs so much. And going attack here, it might look like I may have taken that fight if we were to fight to the death, but I backed up there just because it's actually the correct decision to do. Just because even though I could win the fight, I would probably lose at least like half my meter flock doing it, and it's just not worth. Especially when the Marines are 2-3 and I am 2-1. And I'm trying to get my +3 right now. The hive is done, and they're just clearing out this stuff. And if I were moving my army in a better position, I could easily try to get some mines here. If I was like Jaedong and I was pro and I had lots of APM, definitely. And the problem with this is trying to do ling counterattacks. I think you have, for counterattack for Planetary Fortress, you have to at least have banelings, because the banelings are the things that are going to do damage to SCVs, not the lings. Because the Planetary is just going to take care of the AI, and it kills lings pretty fast. So even if you have a huge group and whole position, I think it died pretty quickly. I tried to harass here, but I realized that there's nothing there. So yeah, they send out some Marines for just some vision, and I don't really want to transition to something huge, as they do have a couple of Marauders, as I saw, a lot of widowmines. So I'm still going with the ling, mutalisk, baneling, and I don't feel too bad doing it just because my upgrades on my mutalisk are actually pretty good, relatively compared to other mutalisk games that other people would have done. Oh, missed the landmine there, but it wasn't going to trade like a huge hit anyways. It would have been good, but regardless. And the banelings really, their purpose is not to kill all the clumped up Marines, because there was no clump whatsoever, but the purpose is just to force the Terran army to run away, so I could maximize damage upon my Zerglings without them getting killed. And this drop, again, I'm taking for granted. I tried to split my Overlords, I did split. I blindly split them, as in I just look at I don't even look at the mini-map, I'm constantly looking elsewhere onto the map and just shift right-clicking them onto the map, so I don't actually know where they go. I just know that they are split some random place on the map. And this is a pretty critical base, so I try to do as much damage as I could, but I can't. And my +3 attack is almost done, and this drop is really annoying, so I tried to actually attack this, but the classic Terran switcheroo and they come back over here. Obviously I didn't think they were going to do that, because I had my eye on the mutalisk the entire time. So, looks like they are actually not in the best shape. Actually, I'd say I'm pretty much ahead at this point. I wouldn't say so far ahead I might have won the game. Maybe in the eyes of a pro you could say that, but I don't think I think I can still fuck up, because I don't have a lot of, what is it? I can't. I just totally derped on my English. Confidence. Holy shit, I don't know why that took me so long. I don't have a lot of confidence in my mutiling Bane. Many times you can see that mutiling, for me at least, mutiling Bane, I'm like really far ahead, and then we crash the armies against each other, and I like lose even though I'm like really far ahead. And that's usually how I lose the game. Yep. So it looks like I keep engaging just because their army seems so small. Actually, half of it is split there, which is clever thinking, but it's actually not that good just because their other half of the army was taking damage. If it wasn't, then maybe it would have been fine, as they did more damage, but no. Anyways, my banelings roll in, and I go like, oh shit, there's bunkers, so I tried to burrow what's ever left, but it was only one, and it's not going to do shit, so it's probably just going to provide vision for me. And the reason why they don't have too many units is because they scatter them everywhere, I think. How many SCVs do they have? 61. Actually, that's not a bad number. But yeah, the whole reason why this game is still going on, even though I wouldn't say winning every fight. I like to say I'm managing their aggression really well, and I'm keeping their numbers low relative to mine. So I'd say I'm still ahead, but the reason this game is going on forever is just because it's this huge fucking map, which is the emphasis of this game, as I've said a million times. And they just put bases everywhere, and if you don't go on top of it, I think maybe burrowing a ling and pooping creep would have done wonders, but I didn't do that. And as a result, they've been taking so many bases easily. I mean, just as easily they could send one Marine and scan, but I guess it would take longer, I don't know. They've just been mining so much compared to me. As you can see, the mules really give a lot of income. And once again, the army is so small, though they just die, and I'm not quite sure. It's just that my mutalisks are so heavily upgraded at this point. They are at 3-2, and I think I neglect my armor for a while there. I get it later, I think. And it just does so much damage to buildings and such, so I fucking hate widow mines. But yeah, see, trying to do some lings here is just not going to work out. So I definitely think that when I see Kane, and they always do counterattacks, they always do baneling counterattacks, and I think I understand that that is the good thing. I didn't know there were 2 widow mines here. They killed like a crap ton of... Whoa, that's a lot. I don't think they're all drones, though. I think they were mostly lings. And, I mean, the one okay thing is that if they don't send their mines to these auxiliary bases immediately, they have to walk their mines here. And if my mutalisks were patrolling, which they are this entire game, then definitely can pick them off without having widow mines into the mineral line, unless you make production here, which is kind of a little bit weird. So, looks like I just see that there are ravens going on, as I saw before. Actually, I just realized in the game, like, I may have saw them, but I haven't really registered them into my brain just because there's so much going on for me, anyways. And, yeah. The rest of this game goes on. Looks like there's only 8 minutes left. And it just seems like I just keep taking the better engagement just because it's a wide open map and they don't have the best engagement skill. I actually like to say their engagement skill is what's losing them the game, this entire game. I mean, not to discredit my own skill, but their engagement is actually pretty, compared to me, it's pretty bad. And now I get the Ultralisk Cavern. I should have had the Cavern and the Chitinous Plating a long time ago. Even though if I don't want any Ultras, just because I can just remax on Ultras if I ever need to. So, that's why. Because I still saw they have some Marauders left, yeah, here. And once they stop making Marauders and make pure Marine, then the Ultralisk will do really well. I think I could have killed these Marines, but 48 Mutalisks here. That's a lot. That's like 100. Half my supply are in Mutalisks. That is insane. They're 2-3 right now. Finally getting my 3rd upgrade. And flanks are so good with Mutalisks, but you have to be really careful. This time I just decide to fight the Marines just because I have so many numbers, and I can just replenish my muta count. Although I should have made Ultralisk at this point. I just made mutas just because I'm a boss, and I'm a piece of shit at the same time. So 49 with the 14 included in those, and I think... yeah, it looks like they never really took the fight to any of my bases just because of the nature of this map, as I said that a million times. And I've said that a million times too. And this actually survives. I was like, oh shit, I didn't see this Marine! 1 health. Hatchery is like a boss. Anyways, they don't know what the fuck they're doing because they're just in that patch Terran mode. Well, not patch Terran, like... It's not even patch Terran, it's like beginning of StarCraft 2 mode, where they just keep making Marines and medivacs and Marauders and mines or whatever. They just keep making that, and they don't know, they're like, I guess Ravens are good, let's make some Ravens. I mean, Ravens are good, but they didn't really use them well at all. PDD blocks like every Mutalisk shot, but, I mean, especially against Mutalisk, Hunter Seeker Missile is not going to connect unless you're fighting with the Mutalisk, and I'm not going to fight with the Mutalisk. Oh shit, that was bad. That was a meat grinder. But PDD actually blocks all the Mutalisk shots, and that's including the glaive, I think. They just block the first shot, so the splash damage is pretty much negated. So it's really good. And, I mean, there are so many Mutalisks that can burn through the PDDs, but they have so many Ravens, they have a lot of PDDs. Imagine if they had all PDDs, then all the Mutalisks would be pretty much not doing any damage and would be taking fire from the Marines, and the rest of the bio army can kill the Lings and the Banelings. So, I just think they're not used to doing this because this map is pretty lost. Although these bunkers are pretty lost too, I'm pretty surprised they didn't salvage them, but it doesn't look like they had a need for the money. Even though I keep killing these bases, they just keep making them. Well, not making them, they just floated that one there. And I'm pretty sure they have no idea what they're doing. I don't have any idea what I'm doing. You see my APM just like derping, so I'm not even doing anything. And looks like at this point I'm just like, I need to kill off these bases so they can't mine, but there's just so many bases. It's like, and I'm pretty sure I can take this army off on creep without my mutalisk, just because the mutalisks aren't going to do anything except kill the medivacs and the raven. And since they see that, I don't have any mutalisks here. They actually evacuate and drop in my main, which is a pretty good decision. If my army wasn't right under it, I would have just boosted back personally. I mean, there are times where you can just risk it and then just fly in and do wonders of damage, but most of the time you're just not going to do anything. And I mean, that's kind of sad, so. Looks like they have no bases. Well, they still have bases, but they're running out of bases to mine finally, and I think with this last bank they will not be able to do anything. And it looks like they're even making battle cruisers just because they have no idea what the fuck's going on. Although they only have one, level 2, almost fully complete. So yeah, actually mutalisk would be pretty bad against battle cruisers if the numbers were more ratioed equally, and if my meters weren't 3-3, so. But they are. As you can see, there's only a few marauders this time, and even though the banelings died pretty quickly without doing the best hits, the ultralisk can easily clean up. And yeah, only 3 ultras. I'm making 4 more, and looks like they're making more battle cruisers. Oh, that's actually 3-2. Oh right, did they Alright, they combined the factory upgrades. That's pretty beast, actually. Holy shit. But it's a bit too little too late, as casters like to say. It's kind of gay. And I go here and I just kill the rest, and there's a lot of mules here. It's a lot of mining. It's a lot of minerals. Like, as you can see, it's like 2,300 with only 37 workers. And the workers are just like mining gas and shit, so taking that into account, that's kind of funny. So anyways, I just kill all these mules and they just leave the game, but hopefully you learned something. I definitely did, about planetaries and counterattacks and objectives and just my weaknesses in general. Just like, patrolling mutalisks is not enough. You have to be offensive with them, constantly doing damage. Even if you go in and hit a turret for half its health and fly away, taking little bits of damage, it's okay because your mutalisks regenerate. So I think I should be really aggressive with them. Like, really aggressive with them. And just make sure none of them die. I think that's the only rule you need to have for mutalisks, is that none of them die, and if you do damage and you take damage, it's okay, as long as none of your stuff dies. Yep. I would like to say also not to get your mutalisks below half health, because then they take a long time to regenerate and your opponent actually has time to do stuff instead of regenerating really quickly and going in again. So, hopefully you learned something. See you next time for the next cast, bros.